Welcome back to the 127 Fit podcast. Today's guest is a fitness coach, healthy lifestyle specialist, drummer, world traveler, and entrepreneur. Today's guest is Sean Cowart. Sean, I want to welcome you to the 127 Fit podcast.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Absolutely, Sean. So we're going to dive right into a little bit of a warm-up, kind of get the ball rolling in regards to our conversation. The first question, Sean, that I have for you is, how do you start your day, and do you have kind of like a specific morning ritual or routine that you like to stick to on most mornings?
Yeah, absolutely. So typically when I wake up, I like to give myself a little bit of time to get ready for my first appointment of the day, which is usually going to be at 6 a.m. So it's pretty early. So I'll wake up a little bit earlier than probably the average individual. But what I do is that I'll either make myself a nice cup of coffee, or I'll make myself some breakfast just to get my, my brain firing up. So when I go into my session, I'm completely present to my client. And I also like to do read secrets to success on Instagram, which is kind of a nice little motivational tool that I like to pump me up and allow that to resonate with my clients as well. Because sometimes my session with them is the best part of their day, so I want to make sure I'm leading by example.
Absolutely. Now, in regards to kind of like maybe some food or whatever, if you're having a bite to eat before you head out for that first training session with your client, what kind of would that food kind of typically look like, Sean?
I absolutely love cereal. I'm kind of like a kid at heart. I do love to have either a bowl of cereal or a bowl of oatmeal with some form of protein, like a protein shake, or I'll do some egg whites and eggs and with a little bit of salsa. But it just depends on what I feel.
For sure.
Whatever I'm in the mood for that day. But always a carb, always a fruit, and always a protein.
Right. 100%. But for the most part, it sounds like something pretty light, though. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So the second question I have for you, and if there's more than one, please feel free to share. But do you have a favorite book, Sean, or a book that you like to gift often?
Oh yeah, man, I do. I absolutely love to read. A saying was given to me a couple years ago when I was training at 24 Hour Fitness, was that essentially leaders are readers, or readers are leaders.
Absolutely.
And I wholeheartedly believe in that you should at least read one book a month, and it's such a good way to expand your mindset, expand your thought process, but also in this industry, as you well know, in the fitness industry, it's constantly evolving, it's constantly growing. So I feel like as a fitness professional, we need to be up to date with all the new concepts that are coming out, so we can deliver to our clients and the people that are really relying on us to help them get from point A to point B. So I definitely have in my room on my bookshelf, I have a whole shelf dedicated to fitness and nutrition and health books. But the book that I'm reading right now, and as you'll find out later in this podcast, is I'm a huge history nerd. I love history. I'm a huge history buff. I got my degree in history. I was definitely at one point in my life wanting to work for the History Channel and be that guy, like talking on the shows, just delving all that awesome information to the audience. But the book that I'm reading right now is When Paris Went Dark. It essentially is about for Paris under German occupation, and how it went from being the light of the Enlightenment, the light of essentially of thought, and how Western civilization really came to be was in Paris, and then under German occupation you start to see that curtail as the years go on, and it's just a fascinating story. It gives amazing accounts of all these people, and one of the main figures that really influenced me to get into history was my grandmother. She was born in Alsace, which is a region in France, and she was raised in Paris. So she endured the full might of German occupation during World War II. Wow. So that really captured my imagination to really learn more about what was going on with her. And I've been into history since I was a kid, and I was literally buying, books with my allowance money.
That's awesome, man.
It's absolutely incredible. But the book that I love to gift, or that I'll love to recommend to people, and my favorite book, is to How to Win Friends and Influence Them. Dale Carnegie.
Absolutely.
Classic. Absolute classic, man.
Just
Talk about personal development to the max. That's the book right there.
Yeah. Now, in regards to history, I mean, because, they say that history repeats itself, and we as human beings should learn from history. And, there's also another saying out there that, says there's nothing new under the sun. So as you, Sean, have kind of dug into history and kind of, definitely sounds like you kind of have a passion for history.
Absolutely.
Would you agree with those couple of statements that I just said, that history definitely repeats itself? We should learn from that history, and there's nothing new under the sun. Have you kind of found that to be true?
Absolutely. Because it's a crazy thing that you'll see these events that happen in history that have such an everlasting impact on society and the culture, and they resonate through time, and then we start to find those situations happen again. So like an example, at the end of the First World War, the Ottoman Empire was dissolved, and essentially you get this area which is called Mesopotamia, which turned into present-day Iraq. You saw lines drawn in the sand where you saw three different types of people, the Sunnis, the Shiites, and the Kurds, being all put into one area, and they had that religious and cultural strife, and we'd see that in the 20th century with the war in Iraq, and all that stuff that was created as the result of the Treaty of Versailles, giving the mandate of Mesopotamia to the Brits or to Great Britain, really had far-reaching consequences, and we experienced that in 2003.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. Now I wanna ask you this: have you found any have you found any value kind of like in your knowledge of history, and then being able to kind of like tie that into fitness, or are there any correlations or anything that you can draw out of history and kind of apply it to fitness and kind of what you're involved with now?
Oh yeah, I love to share fun facts with my clients, and not in a sense of like it's relation to fitness, but what we find is that history, as an individual, right? We have certain things that we've done in the past that work so well for us, or that we are taught to believe, or we are taught to do, and sometimes we find those things resonate with us even to this day. So if you're trying to coach a client and on trying to be more mindful about their diet, or you're trying to get them to eat more fruits and vegetables, if they were raised on eating ramen noodles or mac and cheese and going to McDonald's every day, it might be a little bit more challenging for them to get out of that habit. So that's going to resonate into the future, and that's going to be a habit that's going to die hard. Absolutely.
Okay.
So then, that historical sense of them historically have been doing this for so long, and now you have to try and get them to coax them out of that habit. So you try to allow them to understand that, yes, like you are doing this because this is what's worked well for you. This is how you were brought up, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's just not serving you right now.
Right.
Kind of like, history. You see that what happened back in the 12th century, and that's happening now. And it's happening, it's occurring, it's people's doing it,
right.
but it's not serving anyone.
Beautiful, yeah. All right, that's cool, man. Okay, so the third question that I have for you, and you already had one great quote, leaders are readers, but is there maybe another quote that's been super impactful in your life at some point, or maybe current day? So is there like a favorite quote or mantra that you have, Sean?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say my favorite quote and mantra is, I have a few, but this one's the one that resonated with me the most, is comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
And I think that was coined by Theodore Roosevelt, if I'm not mistaken. And as we know, in this day and age, with the influx of social media and internet businesses, it's very easy to compare ourselves to someone who is very successful and want to just really dwell on that specific thing that's happening. But it's not fair, because you're literally draining your joy, you're draining your happiness, because you're so worried and fixated on what they're doing and how successful they are, and you're literally paralyzed. You cannot allow yourself to be powerful in every aspect of your life, and that's when it's really great to practice gratitude.
Absolutely.
Being absolutely thankful for what you have, And, I do believe that, whatever you put in the universe tends to deliver back to you.
Right.
Tends to give back to you. And it's just unfair to compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's good. Now, do you have a lot of clients, and as you've worked with clients over the years as a personal trainer, do you really see that this kind of like comparison is a thief of joy kind of quote, or just that aspect of things in regards to training your clients? Have you really seen that to be a struggle for a lot of your clients that come in, especially as they're starting off maybe on a fitness or health journey?
Yeah, I'll have clients that come to me and say, hey, like, why is your other client, or why is she getting so much more out of this training program or this diet or these products that I'm taking, or that she's taking, but I'm doing the same exact thing, but I'm not seeing any results. And it's horrible to compare yourself to someone else, because one, genetically and metabolically, you're two completely different persons.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
So I mean, like, and also too is that you got your background, and you got maybe this narrative that's going on in your head right now that's keeping you from really achieving and seeing the benefit of what you're trying to do. So I always try to bring my clients back to the aspect of gratitude, being grateful for what you have, grateful for your health, your family, your friends, your loved ones, and then just try to reapply their mind to, what are we doing right now? What are we trying to accomplish for ourselves? And are we truly putting in the time and the effort? In no way trying to put them down or anything like that, trying to empower them to think on what they can truly do for themselves to make them see that change and make them see that transformation. Because, like, at the end of the day, right, if someone else is working harder than you at getting to their goals, then you can't really blame them.
Right. Yeah. And you mentioned earlier, and this topic's come up, numerous times with different guests throughout this podcast journey for myself. But you mentioned earlier, Instagram, social media, and I personally believe that this whole comparison thing has been magnified because of social media. And do you have like clients at different times come in and say, well, so and so on Instagram, or I want to look like this person on Instagram? Do you specifically have that a lot and have to kind of work through that and deal with that, Sean?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because on the side, I do network marketing, and I do deal with a lot of product, and sharing this product with people so they can better optimize the results in the gym. And when people start to see these posts on social media, like, this gal lost 15 pounds or 20 pounds using this product, again, like, it's going to react differently with people. Like, it's going to have a different response. But also too is that maybe their lifestyle caters more towards their goal.
For sure.
Like, maybe this woman that is struggling has 4 kids that she's trying to balance in her family and try to provide for a husband, everyone in her family, being a good wife, good mother. But she's having a hard time getting into good solid food. She's having a hard time getting in her workouts. And again, like, there's just a huge difference between both people. And I try to bring them back down to the fact that, yes, like, there is an opportunity for you to see these results, and you cannot give up on your goals. But also too is that you got to develop these habits that are going to serve you. And if you're not following through with the consistency of these habits day in and day out, then you can't really say that, like, I'm not seeing any results, or I'm not getting the same results like this other woman.
Yeah.
And just establishing really fine, clear-cut goals for them to follow.
Yeah. I know there's a kind of a saying that sometimes that plays over and over in my head for me personally as kind of a reminder of, like, just take care of your business, and it's run your own race. You know what I mean? Because, like, I've done a lot of different running in my life, and there's times, especially like when you're younger in high school, and I ran like the 1600, 3200, 800, but specifically like the 1600, everybody, especially when you're younger, as soon as that gun goes off, the same thing kind of like in swimming or whatever, but whenever you're kind of at that start line in a sporting event, a lot of people don't know how to control, again, especially when you're younger, they don't know how to control their emotions, right? They don't know how to control their mindset. So as soon as the gun goes off or the start is there, they just just go out like like mad crazy. And it's really easy in that specific instance of, like, let's say a 1600 to go out way too fast, you know what I mean? And then you get caught up with all the other runners, and you're not on your time and your pace and all that, and then you don't run the race that you want because you got caught up with the pack, so to speak, instead of running your own race. And that's the same thing. I love that analogy with kind of like track, because track was a big part of my life growing up, but I love that analogy because, Sean, that's the exact same thing with life, and kind of what you're talking about working with your clients and this comparison thing and social media and all that is like, we just need to run our own race, right? And not get caught up with everybody and everything else. It's like, hey, how can I be the best me today? How can I run my race and own my own world today? And honestly, who cares what anybody else and everybody else is doing, because I've got to take care of my business, right? So run your own race, and if you do that, you'll eventually get where you want to go, right?
Exactly.
So
cool. Wholeheartedly believe in that.
Beautiful. All right, so let's finish up the warm up here with the final question, Sean. And the final question I have, and the same thing, kind of like with the book question. If there's more than one, feel free to share, please. But do you have a favorite or most listened to podcast?
Yeah. Again, I have a lot of them, but I would say the one that really struck out to me was, and I discovered this gentleman on Facebook actually, and he's a really powerful individual. He's British, and his name is Jay Shetty.
Yep, I've heard of him. Yep, absolutely.
On Purpose with Jay Shetty. He's such a huge positive individual, and he does, he believes in the practice of practicing gratitude on a regular basis, and he's just got so much like mind hacks just to optimize every aspect of your life, and like I was saying earlier, so you can live powerfully in your relationships, in your fitness goals, in your career, like all that stuff. Because I mean, at the end of the day, we all want to be the best man or woman in all those aspects, and this guy definitely delivers that.
Cool. Now you just mentioned mindset, and we've kind of been talking about mindset basically from the beginning of our conversation, kind of again with the comparison stuff, but specifically because that's one of the things I had written down. If we got to it, I wanted to touch on, and mindset is everything, and we talk about this a lot on my podcast, because if we don't have control of our thoughts and our mind, then we're going to get kind of like we were just talking about running your own race. You're going to get caught up in everything that society's thrown at you, what your friends are doing, kind of get caught up in the pack, and you're going to eventually be a mess. So the importance of mindset for you personally, Sean, why don't you touch on that? And then the importance of you working with your clients in regards to their mindset. So how do you kind of just like set your mind each day? Is there maybe like a mantra or a word or some words or affirmations that you kind of like play on repeat in your mind? And then how do you kind of work in teaching your clients to grab a hold of their mind and their thoughts and incorporate that in your personal training?
Yeah, absolutely. So I say, like, first thing that you do in the day, like right when your feet hit the floor, as soon as you get turn your body out and you're getting out of bed, is what's your day going to look like? Is it going to be a good day, or is it going to be a bad day? And the first thing I tell myself is, this is going to be a good day. I'm going to have a great day. And that kind of sets the tone for the rest of my day and getting stuff accomplished, but also being there for my clients, being there for my loved ones, my friends, my family. And what I tell my clients is that, you want to wake up with, the feeling good and feeling powerful, and you want to go to bed, feeling powerful and feeling good. And I really do believe in, saying affirmations for yourself, and that just tends to resonate with the brain. Is the more you say it, the more the brain starts to really believe it. And I really do like to find out what is the biggest thing that's keeping my clients from living their life powerfully. So I don't know if you ever heard of Landmark before.
Yeah, I actually think Bryn brought it up to me.
I'm sure she did.
Yeah.
Bring that up. So Landmark has been a huge thing for me, and it's first and foremost, it's a personal and professional development leadership course. It's really teaching you how to alter your mind and be able to distinguish these distinctions that we have labeled or we have created for ourselves. And we limit ourselves by putting reasons on everything. Like, the reason why I can't start this business is because I might fail, or I'm not there yet, or the reason why I'm not going to go up and talk to this girl is because she's going to reject me. Like, we give these all these reasons for everything, and we never do what we want to do because we place these restrictions, because we have this idea and this mindset that we know what we know, and we don't know because we don't know certain things because they haven't been we're not aware of them yet. They haven't occurred in us yet. So when we start to understand these limitations and these occurrences, we can start to identify all these obstacles that we place in front of us. And I try to tell my clients that, and I'm like, do you understand that you've really placing all these limitations on yourself? You are literally keeping yourself from living your best life right now because you are coming up with this narrative or this story in your mind, which you're telling yourself over and over and over again, and you're not able to do what you want to do. So I tell them, let's step back, let's understand that you're the reason why, you're the obstacle. If we can create a mindset and a place and a space for you to feel better about what you're trying to do, but understand that this has absolutely no resonance on you whatsoever. This has no factor on you as an individual. You can literally say who you want to be. You are who you say you are. And I get my clients to start practicing that, even just if it's just the affirmations first thing in the morning, is to get them to allow themselves to step into that positive mantra.
Right.
Because they're here in the negative place where they feel like they're not good enough. And say, literally just step out of that and step into this. Step into the I am strong, I am confident, I am funny, I am a good provider. Like, step into that zone and see what it feels like. Try
Absolutely,
it on.
man.
See what happens. And then also too is, like we were talking about, reading a book. Try reading something that you've never thought that you would. If you're into sci-fi, cool, but maybe try something else. Maybe try something that would better, instead of taking an escape, which is nice to do every once in a while, because I am a huge nerd, closet case nerd, like without the closet. And I do love to read that type of stuff too. Absolutely love Star Wars. Love Star Wars. But I also see, like, you know what? Let's get into a space where we can start to better ourselves and really start to challenge ourselves to be better people. And you can do that. All it takes is just that first step.
Right. So if you don't mind sharing, what are some of those personal affirmations that you like to repeat?
To myself? Yeah. So the biggest one for me is, so growing up, I was definitely the shyest kid around. I was super shy, not very talkative, not very charismatic. My dad is super charismatic. He's one of the most influential people in my life, and my dad could, make friends with anyone. He's buddy with like the clerk at the cash register at the grocery store, and the waitress at the restaurant. And you know what? I really looked up to my dad as a way to kind of get out of that, step into that zone. And seeing someone do it is extremely helpful. So what I say, the first word that I tell myself is confidence. I am confident.
I like that, yeah.
I am confident. I am charismatic. I am supportive. I am a good listener, because in this day and age, people listen to respond, right? Not listening to really understand and really appreciate what is being said. So I always put, I would say I'm more of a listener than I am a talker. I spend probably 75% of the time listening to someone rather than talking, because I want to hear about them.
Absolutely.
I am generally interested in hearing about the person that I'm talking to. And I want to know what makes them tick. I want to know what makes them happy. And I think that's a large part of why I've been able to be successful in this business, is because I generally care about my clients. I really do wholeheartedly care about them and want to make sure that they're getting the best out of their training sessions, but out of life too. And yeah, man. And well, let's see, there was one more. Also, too, is abundance. Abundance.
Okay.
Abundance in life, abundance in wealth, friendships, you name it. Just living a life of abundance.
Yeah, I love it, man. I appreciate you sharing that. And for me, the affirmation that at different seasons, there's different affirmations. For me, just because of some different things that I've been trying to, break through some of those limiting beliefs, just limiting things in my life. The I am statement or the affirmation that I've been, stating, and I'm a big proponent of writing and speaking, and I'm a writer. I love writing. It's a great outlet for me. So anyways, I kind of have this notebook, and there's different things that I write, but one of the things I've been writing for quite a while now is I am breakthrough, because there've been some limiting beliefs, limiting thoughts, just limiting things in my life that I knew if I wanted to go that next level as a man in my maturity and growth and all that, like I needed to break through. So I've been writing I am breakthrough for, I don't know, probably the last 2, 3, 4 months or whatever. And Sean, it's like people just don't understand the power of retraining your mind, retraining your thought process, how you literally can change your life if you can grab a hold of your mind and grab a hold of your thoughts and just retrain it and just move in that direction that you want to move, man.
Absolutely.
Like I am breakthrough, and just by me retraining my thought process, retraining my mind, and just moving in that direction, you have to take action, right? You can't just write something and speak it and be like, oh, it's magically going to happen.
Yeah,
you
right.
have to take that action. But man, it's like it all starts with the mind. It all starts with your thoughts and that thought process. And it's like, dude, I am breakthrough. I am breakthrough. I am breakthrough. Dude, I've broken through that stuff, man. It's so powerful. You know what I mean? It builds you up so much. It gives you so much confidence, like you were talking about. And I'm sure, like, as you have had those affirmations in your life, like you've seen a radical transformation, right? Just personally.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I mean, you can talk, right? You're not. I mean, I'm sure. Like I've got some introverted tendencies and things. And if I was left to myself, would I rather kind of be by myself than around people? For the most part, yeah. But it's like, dude, like, I'm sure you could probably stand up in front of a bunch of people if you're passionate about something and talk and share and have that charismatic, side of you. And I'm sure that's all developed because you started through the affirmations and retraining your mind and grabbing a hold of those thoughts, right?
Oh, absolutely. And, in training, especially if, anyone listening here has had experience with 24-hour fitness or people who have worked for 24 hours fitness, being a personal trainer is more or less a sales job.
Yep,
so you have to go out and get your own business. And that means like going up to talking to people and, striking up a conversation, building up a personal relationship, and then asking for the sale. Oh, heck yeah, I definitely pushed myself out of my comfort zone multiple times. And really that job molded me into the position I am today. I would say that because of me pushing myself out of that comfort zone I was able to get to that point where I was able to talk in front of groups of people, hold conversations, and have like good conversations with people at the gym, and being able to maintain their business because they not only just love the training, but they wholeheartedly love just training with me. I've had clients that didn't really they've reached their goals. They got to what they wanted, but they just liked the interactions. And almost as me they're paying for me to talk to them for
sure,
an hour. Like, it's crazy. Man. I didn't know that was possible until I got a little bit later in my career. But yeah, man, the mantras, the self-talk, what you say about yourself, what you see yourself as, powerful, man.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I appreciate you sharing some of that personal stuff, because that's the thing, man. Like we get on Instagram, right, Sean? We get on social media. We have different interactions with people, and it's like we all on some level have a mask on, or we have we're not gonna most people aren't just gonna put themselves out there like fully when they're kind of like just living day-to-day life and not really close with certain people or the people that are around, coworkers or whatever. And that's why it's so powerful, man, like the podcast and being able to give people that platform to share their story, because dude, we all have insecurities. We all have fears. We all have anxieties. We all have struggles. Like
Sure.
human being is perfect, Sean, right? So it's like the more, authentic, the more real, as we have these opportunities to share our story, like that's why I'm so passionate about, storytelling, having human beings share their story and tell their story, because, those stories can positively impact other people, man, because we've all got stuff. No matter how good looking you are, no matter how many certificates or degrees you have, no matter how successful whatever the world says you are, you think you are, like at the end of the day, like when we're alone, like at our house or whatever in the dark, it's like, dude, we've got struggles, we've got issues, and there's things that we're all trying to work through. So
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing that. And just one thing, like the being a good listener, man, it's so powerful. And that's something, because I come from a very loud family, a very talkative family. And, I love to, be the center of attention. And, I always blurted out when I was growing up. And it's like, I've really learned and am still learning and want to continue to learn the power of listening, man. Because it's like when you listen, you learn. Because when I'm talking all the time, like, I can't learn. Like if you're always talking, you can't receive, and you're not going to be able to learn. And so and I'm sure that gift that you have of listening, is probably a very powerful tool in your toolbox in regards to being a personal trainer, because you referred to it earlier. Like some people, they've met all their fitness goals and they're basically still paying you just because they have a great connection. And I'm sure you probably listen to them. And It's like, dude, like people need, and I really find this with females too, like they just want people to listen to them.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because everybody's talking. There's so much information. Like, just shut up and listen. So like I want to acknowledge the power of listening, and I'm really thankful that you realize the power in listening, because we need more people to realize that and be willing to listen, because people people just need somebody a lot of times, man, just to listen to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
dude.
I just want to acknowledge that and just keep killing it in listening, dude. So Sean, so we definitely we've already dived deep, man, which is good, and that's kind of the warm up. But I do quickly want to touch on, before we kind of move into kind of like where you're at today and some of the things you've got going on in your life right now. I do want to touch on kind of your childhood a little bit. You've already mentioned kind of the importance of your dad and just kind of his influence in your life. But where did you grow up? What was kind of the home environment? Were you involved in sports and things like that? What were those younger years for you, like Sean, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, so I was born in Houston, Texas. I lived there for the first 4 years of my life. Moved to Puerto Rico, lived there for about 2 years in a gated community near San Juan. My dad was offered a position within the company he was working for, and we were able to live in Puerto Rico. Mm-hmm. Both my parents grew up overseas.
Okay.
My dad grew up in Paris, France.
Wow, okay.
And my mom grew up in a couple spots, Venezuela, Singapore, Saigon before it fell to the North Vietnamese. And so both my parents were oil brats, more or less.
Okay.
So my dad wanted to give my sister and I the experience of living overseas, per se, to have that experience, because they had such a wonderful experience doing that. But I was raised here in Colorado, in Littleton. I moved here back in '94 when I was 7 years old. Basically, my dad traveled quite a bit, so my mom was taking care of my sister and I for a large part, but my dad was very present in my life. As I was telling you earlier, really looked up to my dad, just the way and just his personality and his support and being patient. He was a very patient man. Growing up, my sister was born with a disability.
Okay.
So she was born with this specific handicap where more or less she had to get a bunch of surgeries.
Okay.
So she had to travel quite a bit, and it was my mom who traveled on top of that. So with her, so growing up, I was being taken care of by family friends or my grandparents, or if my dad wasn't traveling, he would take care of me. And I don't think that really had an effect on my child life per se, but definitely growing up with a handicapped sibling was definitely impactful. It taught me a lot about just really being in a household with an individual who may have required a little bit more attention. As kids, like you always want to get, the attention from your parents.
For sure, yeah, of course.
That's what children crave, is attention from their mom and dad. But my parents were always there for me, and my sister was there for me, and I was there for my sister. And we both lived very normal lives. But growing up, man, I was playing sports all the time. I played soccer, I played baseball, I played basketball, I played football, I played tennis. So sports had a huge impact on my life. And just being able to go out and just get active and just let out all that energy was super helpful. And playing outside was the best thing I probably could have done for myself.
Yeah, for sure. So now in regards to like your sister and just her handicap and stuff and that experience, what was the takeaway for you? Because like you said, when you're a young kid, like you crave and starve that attention from your parents. And I'm sure because of just her situation, she got probably a lot more attention from your parents than you. So what was kind of the takeaway though, for you personally that you've kind of like carried with you up to this point in your life from that experience with your sister and growing up in that situation?
Well, there was, when I was younger, sometimes you don't see things clearly. You can't appreciate the situations that are happening around you. But there was definitely some resentment, absolutely. Yeah. But now I cherish every moment that I have with my family members. Because, like the time with our family is really, it's going to be something that we're going to look back at, and we're going to either be, we're going to be disappointed and be like, I wish I spent more time with them, or it's going to be like, well, I lived my life and I included my family members in it. I just cherished every single moment. So I really do, I'm grateful for having a family that I can, have here in the state.
For sure.
So I know, there's, like you, for instance, your family's in Iowa.
Yep.
And I get to see my family every week. I'm very, very grateful that I can be able to do that. And having my sister around, I definitely appreciate her so much more than I probably did when I was a kid.
Right.
Just because there was that disconnect, and seeing that my sister got a little bit more attention. But my sister is one of the strongest people that I know, and she has gone through so much, and she's done so much in her life. And she didn't have a normal childhood.
Right.
She couldn't play sports. So I'm just so thankful to have a sister who's so supportive and so nice and so giving. And even despite her circumstance, she's literally the nicest person you can ever meet. Like, she's like, I almost compare her to like a golden retriever. Like, she's always happy and is always friendly all the time.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just the fact that having her and just being grateful for such an amazing sister has really brought me to just being very, like, the time that I have with my family. Because you never know, like, they might not be here, 10, 20, 15,
right.
Just like, you always, use the time with your family and just don't have any regrets. Don't have any type of remorse in your heart. Just always, complete yourself with whatever type of negativity or situation that you may have experienced in your life, and don't allow that to dictate your relationship with your family or your friends. Life's too short to really do that. Just get complete, get real, and own up, take ownership for what you did, and allow yourself to be in a position to be vulnerable also too, but allow that your sibling to take it and be able to just absorb it and be complete also.
Preach, man. I like it. Good stuff, Sean. All right, so let's touch on college a little bit, or like post high school. What kind of where did you go to college? What did the post high school years look like? And then we'll kind of start moving towards where we're at present day.
Awesome, bro. So graduated from Heritage High School in Littleton, Colorado. I went through to Metro State College in Denver. It was college then, but now it's the university. And I transferred to CU up in Boulder.
Perfect. Yeah. Got the shirt on. Got the gear.
And got my degree in history, which I said earlier.
Yeah.
And a large part of that degree was really get that job for the History Channel. But also too is that my grandparents had such a huge impact on me in pursuing that degree, because just listening to their stories. My mom's mom was born and raised in Eastern Europe, immigrated to the States. I want to say 1920s, 1930s. I don't know for sure. And then my grandmother had, on my dad's side, having been born in Alsace, raised outside of Paris, France, and during the full amount of German occupation. Hearing both their stories captured my imagination to really want to pursue that degree, because I was just absolutely fascinated with listening to their stories. I mean, absolutely insane, like what they went through. My baba, my mom's mom, that's what we call it, was Eastern European way to call grandmother. She was under the yoke of communist, the Soviets, the Bolsheviks, right? Wow. And just being able to get over here to the States was almost an impossible task. My other grandmother, my nana on my dad's side, going through German occupation, she had to ride her bike 40 miles to get just a pound of butter from the black market. That was the reason why I got my degree in history. Huge impact. But as soon as I graduated, I had different aspirations. I actually was in the process of joining the military. I was going to go to officer candidate school for the Marine Corps. And I injured myself. I was heavily involved in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in school. So I messed up my shoulder. I couldn't go through the program. I couldn't go through the actual application process because I would have got DQ'd. So in other words, disqualified. So I was like, you know what? I need to find a profession. I'm living at my parents' house after college. I need to get my life together and do something, because I don't want to just sit on the couch nursing my shoulder back. I got to get back to life, get back to reality. So that's when I decided to get into fitness. Got my certification through the National Academy of Sports Medicine. Got hired at 24 Hour Fitness soon afterwards, and spent about 7.5 years working through that company, did management, made my way up to a master trainer status, had a very fulfilling, great career at 24 before I decided to start my own business, which is called Fit Force. But I tried again to join the military again, but this time this would be a little bit more of an impact. It really did shape me as an individual, because I didn't end up going through with it, and the reason is because I suffered a low back injury trying to prepare to join the military. I had this mindset that I needed to kick my own butt before going to training, because I knew I was going to get my butt kicked in the military.
For sure, yeah.
So I had aspirations of going to the Army. I wanted to go through Army officer candidate school, go into infantry school, go to airborne school, become an Army Ranger, go into special forces, right? Really demanding, physically demanding
for sure.
job. And I prepared myself as best I could, but I suffered this really bad low back pain, and I knew that if I would have got a scan or what's the
like an MRI?
Exactly. MRI. Get an MRI that would have just confirmed my worst fears. So pain got worse. Went to get my MRI, and it said that I had 2 bulging discs, L4, L5, S1, and onset degenerative disc disease, onset spinal stenosis. And from that point, I knew that my dream to join the military was pretty much over. So from that point on, I devoted myself to learn, and I also got help from very influential people in the area who are really good at corrective exercise and rehab, and I was eventually able to heal my back holistically, naturally, without having to go under the knife and get surgery or do any of that stuff. But I tried everything in the book. I'm not bashing anything one way or another. Certain things work better for others, but the holistic approach definitely worked best for me. And that was really just correcting the position of my pelvis, correcting my posture, and really understanding that as individuals, we tend to go the path of least resistance, even with our bodies. As you've probably learned and experienced yourself, we have the worst posture in the world. I mean, the society dictates a horrible a posture because the seats that they make aren't ergonomical towards a proper posture or a natural posture. So I found out that basically I really had destroyed my body. My body was broken just through improper movement mechanics. My body was weak. I had very weak glutes, very weak core muscles. And I was able to heal that. I was able to increase that strength and correct my pelvic position and essentially bring myself back to the brink where I thought I was never going to get to work out again. And it just really brought me good perspective. And that was the beginning of my mind journey, my journey to really not just improve my mind, but that of my clients as well. And because I was able to correct my back, I consider myself to be really good at correcting low back injuries just because of the experience that I went through, and also two shoulders as well, because the first injury I got from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that was a distal clavicle inflammation in my AC joint. So I had to learn, to get my shoulders right. So corrective exercise is one of my really big passions, and I find that a large part of my clientele are people who are coming to me for aches and pains, back problems, shoulder problems, knee problems. And because of that instance, I could have allowed that instance to defeat me, to make me super depressed and know that like my dream of joining the military was shattered. But instead I used that as a catalyst to help other people become their best selves by helping their bodies improve and become more mechanically sound and strong. So that was a huge moment in my life, was going through that low back pain, that low back injury.
Now, I want to touch on, mechanics, because you've mentioned this several times as you've shared your story, Sean, and that's something for me, being a physical education teacher and looking at our youth and how, we put them in, desks for, 6 hours a day. There's all kinds of things. We don't have to get into all that, but the glutes are deactivated, tight hip flexors, the thing that I've noticed, because I've taught, kindergartners, and then this year I'll be, teaching, high schoolers. So I've taught from kindergartners all the way up to high schoolers, seniors and stuff. And it's like the kindergartners, like it was so beautiful. I would see them in that squat position. You know what I mean? Like they would, I'd be talking and sharing a little bit before class or whatever, before we got into the activity of the day. And I would see students every once in a while, in that squat position. So beautiful. It's so natural. It's so good. But then it's like, take the second graders, you know what I mean? And it's like, you try to put, second graders, which are only like 2 years older than the kindergartners, or third graders, fourth graders, like they really can't, most of them, get into that position. So it's like, it's just, and it's very clear, like, how messed up, our mechanics are. And again, you're talking about the posture and all the sitting that we do in our world. So for me, mechanics is very important in regards to teaching kids how to do, like, let's say a squat or something like that. So for you, just kind of break down for maybe the listeners that don't necessarily understand like mechanics, like what are kind of like proper body mechanics, and then like how would you correct those mechanics?
Yeah. So the mechanics are essentially the form that's exhibited or that you do to do a particular movement, like the mechanics of a squat, the mechanics of a lunge, a bench press, an overhead shoulder press. So a lot of that dysfunction is created from just overactive or inactive muscle groups in our body due to the day-to-day movements that we do all the time, from our jobs, from our posture, right? So as a trainer, what my job is to do is to really understand how their body moves and put them through an assessment where I can exhibit and kind of bring out all those weaknesses and all those strengths. And what I found is that you can't stabilize a joint until it's been mobilized. Mobility is going to be the stretching, the flexibility aspect in creating supple movement for that muscle to move fluidly. So like for instance, if you are in a squat position and you have too much forward lean, obviously that's going to be exhibited because you have too tight of hip flexors, your psoas is overactive, your quads are overactive, and your hamstrings and glutes aren't getting the proper development. Is because they're literally turned off. So I put them through a list of stretches based on their limitations and what the assessment called for, or based on a specific postural deviation altogether. So like an example would be lumbar lordosis, which is overactive lumbar erectors, overactive quads and hip flexors, and not enough activity happening in the glutes and the hamstrings. So what I do is that I first and foremost apply those stretches and then strengthen those weaker areas so that they can bring that pelvic region, bring that posture back to balance. Then you'll start to see that growth or that muscle activation occur because those muscles aren't firing off properly. So I really do wholeheartedly believe that in order to create that functionality or create that stability, you have to mobilize it first. And that's where that stretching comes in. Huge proponent of stretching. I used to hate stretching. I used to absolutely hate it. And that's the reason why I got injured, is because I never stretched.
Right.
But let me tell you, it's changed my life. It's changed the life of my clients. And you feel better, you move better, and it ultimately will help you get your physical aesthetic goals way more effectively. So if you're a gal looking to get your glutes bigger, right? You got to release that psoas. You got to release those quads and do some movements that are going to help build a foundation for your glutes, increase that core strength so that you're not feeling it in your low back, and then gradually progress you so you can really start to optimize that development.
Yeah. Cool. So, and I agree 100% with the stretching thing, because I've had, I don't know, it's the last year and a half, so much just tightness in the hip flexors and, my hips and different things. And then I started to go to a physical therapist in Colorado Springs, who I've had on my podcast. And then, it was like a couple times a week at the beginning, and then once a week over the summer. I mean, she was just putting me through some really deep stretching.
Nice.
Dude, like I felt so good. And it's like the same thing. It's like, dude, I know I should be stretching, but especially when you're like lifting weights, like, dude, I just want to go in, hit the weight room hard and get out of there. You know what I mean? But it's like, as I've gotten older, I've again come to that realization. It's like, Quentin, you've got to focus more on stretching, because, dude, like, and it's painful and it sucks, but it's like, when I'm done, even if it's just me doing it myself, I feel so much better, dude. You know what I mean? Like, whether because the research. There's all kinds of research pointing in all kinds of different directions in regards to stretching, whether it's really beneficial or not. But it's like, my whole thing, it's the same thing with diet, movement, whatever. It's like, just if it makes you feel better, then why not do it? Who cares what the science says? Like, the science says, oh, you shouldn't, static stretch before you lift weights. It's like, dude, like, if it works for you, then do it. You know what I mean? And that stretching is so powerful. And I'm in agreement 100% with just like, hey, like, if you're not stretching and you're super active, if you're lifting weights, if you're doing, the HIIT cardio and going, balls to the wall and you're training, like, and if you're not stretching, if you're not rolling, if you're not doing that mobility, like, it's going to catch up to you sooner rather than later.
It will.
Yeah.
And also too, is that, like, with the stretching aspect too, is, I've read the research as well. As you said, like, static stretching before a workout, not necessarily the most smart thing to do, but there's different types of stretching to do before a workout. Like, there's active stretching where, like, you do like contract and relax, 5 seconds, contract, 5 seconds, release. The static stretching, there's the dynamic stretching, all that stuff. Whatever your sport or your activity is, there is a place for that stretching to occur. And what I really try to find out is, based on the demand of your workout, what kind of stretching protocol will I apply for you? Are you more of a corrective client that just needs to enhance your flexibility? Then we'll do some static stretching, and then we'll move you into some more contract and relax. Or maybe you're an athlete and you're looking to get into sports performance for football. We're going to do some dynamic stretching, maybe a little bit of contract and relax. It just really depends on the needs and the demands of that client, for sure. But, dude, it's I stretch every day. Every day I stretch.
Yeah, that's good, man. I'm pushing myself to get into that uncomfortable zone, because I'm just finding a lot of value in it. So now before we kind of move on from the mechanics and all that type of stuff, Sean, and touch on a few things before we wrap up the conversation. In regards to kind of like just majority speaking, like the majority of your clients that come in, what's maybe that first kind of mechanical thing that you have to work on? Is it like a squat position? Is it just maybe a walking pattern? What do you see, generally speaking, in a lot of your clients that you kind of have to tackle first in regards to mechanics?
Yeah, so it really depends on the individual and where they're at in their life and what their goals are. But, like, let's say you got an individual who just wants to just wants to spend more time with their family. Maybe they go on a weekend hike every weekend, but their whole gait is just absolutely messed up. I would focus on just seeing what their gait looks like, how they walk, what kind of shoes they're wearing, and what they do during the day. And then that really just helps me, like a detective would, to find out and solve a case. I'm trying to pinpoint exactly what the root cause of that specific problem is. And then I start to attack that. And most individuals, it's going to be a weakness in core strength and weakness in glute strength from what I've seen. And if you can address those two specific things, that help pretty much resonates into everything else, and it will help complement the quality of the movement. And then again is, where are they at in terms of the damage that has already been done? And then I will just tailor that specific to their needs. And if you got an individual who is just wanting to enhance their squat, I would probably put them through a squat assessment.
Right.
But my go-to, this is the easiest one to do, and I got multiple assessments that I put them through, but the overhead squat assessment, the tried and true method, everyone learns that when they first become a personal trainer. It's the best way to find out and expose all those strengths and all those weaknesses right off the bat. And so from there, I just go through my system of tailoring their workouts to their needs and their wants.
Perfect. Now I want to touch on here for a minute, kind of just like lifestyle, because like, I know one of the things that I grabbed off your Instagram that you had was healthy lifestyle specialist. Now, how important is it for people to grab a hold of that mindset when they're trying to step into that fitness journey? They're trying to eat better and just trying to have a greater overall health. How important, Sean, is it for people to understand that it's a lifestyle and it's not a quick fix? So just kind of expound a little bit on the importance of teaching your clients, teaching the world that health and fitness should be a lifestyle and not maybe a quick fix, not something that you're just going to do for a little bit and then go back to the normal life.
Yeah. Well, the first question I ask them is your life a quick fix? Is your life a quick fix in the sense of, do you feel like the way that you're living your life right now, do you deserve to have a life of abundance, a life of power where you can really see the transformation that you're giving to yourself? Or is this literally just a quick fix for that weekend getaway? Like, do you really want to make this a part of your life? Or is this something that is just like kind of a temporary thing that you're wanting to try on for a little bit? And I find out right off the bat, it's like, where is your where's your dedication, like on a scale of 1 to 10? And then also try to understand that, try to help them understand that, like in anything that you do, whether it be your job, whether it be your relationship or your fitness goal, it's going to take consistency, drive, purpose, and discipline. And if you're willing to put in the same amount of effort into your relationship or your job, why not put that into your health? This is the only body you got.
Right.
Why allow yourself to go through the emotional and physical trauma of dipping and diving, valleys and peaks of your fitness goals? You're literally just prolonging the time it takes for you to get to your goals. Why not just allow yourself to embrace it and be consistent and just try it on and see what happens? Like, you have nothing to lose. Right. Like, you have absolutely nothing to lose except for this amazing quality of life that you're going to get from embracing this. Right.
Cool. Now, I want to talk about entrepreneurship and you being an entrepreneur. You've talked about Fit Force and you've talked about kind of going out on your own. Explain to myself and the listeners, Sean, kind of what was the impetus behind that, and then just kind of explain Fit Force and just share maybe a couple things in regards to this entrepreneurial journey that you've been on, that you've learned and that you're still really trying to tackle and just really gain from, like, what are you gaining from kind of the entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so the entrepreneurship was really established through my experiences at 24 Hour Fitness.
Okay.
But also too is the people that I surround myself with. So the company, the network marketing company that I work for called Modere, I work with some very truly amazing people. And these people have really encouraged me and shaped my mindset to go out and adopt, or to really go out and get this business and be an entrepreneur. Because I mean, who doesn't want to have ownership over their business? Like instead of living someone else's dream, I want to be able to live my dream. Like I did that. It was great. I got excellent experience from it. But now it's my time. I want to live my own dream now. I want to have complete ownership of what I am doing. And plus too is that, like, when you have ownership over something, I think it really does bring out more passion, more drive, more excitement.
Absolutely.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's great companies out there that really help you get your feet wet and really give you the experience that you need to be a business owner or an entrepreneur. But I would say the biggest thing for me was just wanting to have that ownership on my own. The people that were encouraging me to establish my own business had such a huge impact in my life. Like Bryn was one of them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And a buddy of mine named Thiago, and just people in this business I work for are all just very like-minded. They want to establish, like, who doesn't want to have financial freedom? Who doesn't want to have time freedom? Doing a 9-to-5 is great, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But I mean, I just truly saw myself once I got out of 24-hour fitness that I had this whole unlimited possibilities that were awaiting me.
Yeah. So what's kind of like one thing or a couple things that you've learned through this entrepreneur journey that's just been like kind of like eye-opening for you?
It's a lot of work.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. Definitely a lot of pushing myself out of my comfort zone, man. Like, I am trying to find new ways to advertise and market myself. Just trying to be an individual that can to get more clients, get more business. But also too is that doing things I never would have done in the past, like literally striking up conversations with people at the grocery store and exchanging information and telling them about what I'm up to and what I have that could potentially serve them or benefit them. And I mean, I think it's fun, man. It's definitely brought a whole new level to this business of mine, and it just never stops, dude. It's constant. I literally work every day.
Yeah. Now, we've talked about kind of like, Instagram and social media in terms of kind of the comparison thing and how it can be like this trap and kind of this negative thing. But, we're sitting here because of social media. We're sitting here because of Instagram. My whole podcast is in existence because of social media. So like, I personally love social media. There's positives, there's negatives. It all depends upon the user. But again, like I love Instagram. I love social media. I think there's so many great opportunities that we can gain through it. But in regards to being an entrepreneur, specifically within fitness and things of that nature, and just trying to kind of get this Fit Force business off and running and being super successful, how valuable and how important is social media in your business today?
Extremely important.
Right.
Extremely important. It gives me the ability to bring more awareness and curiosity to my brand, so I absolutely love it. And both my Facebook and my social media and my Instagram, for that matter, are places and spaces for positivity, growth, awareness, and I just want to spread nothing but good vibes.
Absolutely.
And I mean, at first it used to be something where I was like, man, like this is just like it's almost exhausting about all the stuff, like, because you get so wrapped up in everything that is happening on your feed, like you're looking at all this stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, and all the messages that you get. But man, like, if it wasn't for social media and also the beauty of time management and developing good habits, it's really been a great thing for me in my business. And I'm still learning. I'm still developing new processes. And I got, big things that I want to be able to share with my customers and my audience. But man, it's been nothing but greatness, really. Social media, I guess you could say, is kind of a gift for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, for sure. And Instagram specifically for like fitness people. You know what I mean? Like, dude, like
Totally.
Instagram is where it's at now. Now, if somebody's listening to this, Sean, and they're, you know, maybe kind of like where you were at when you were at 24 hours, and you're just like, hey, man, like I kind of want to step out on my own. What advice would you give that individual if they're just like, maybe they're kind of in that corporate personal training position, they're kind of in maybe a corporate job, but they really want to dive into fitness, they want to have their own business, they kind of want to model kind of like what you've done, have that freedom in life to do kind of what you want. What advice would you give that individual, or what are some tips that you would give them as they're kind of stepping out of the corporate world into, you know, having their own business and pursuing that?
Yeah, I would say tell them, get comfortable stepping out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Get comfortable sharing your story and sharing your product, your brand with your audience. Because I mean, if you especially with social media, I see so much power and so much usefulness in being able to share something via a Facebook Live or an Instagram TV or a story, like you talking into the camera and saying what you want to say.
Right.
Like, you're gonna fail, you're gonna suck at first, but you know what? The more you do it, the better you're gonna get.
Absolutely.
And just embrace it, and also get good at going up and talking to people. If you're to have 24-hour fitness, then you know that a lot of the business that you generate is self-generated business. Get comfortable generating your own business by talking to people, finding new ways to get people in front of you. Because at the end of the day, if you're not getting HFCs or FAs, whatever they're called now, fitness assessments, you can't get clients. So just get comfortable, advertise, market yourself, and just get really good at sharing your story.
So I want to ask you, kind of like current day, what is one of those struggles or kind of challenges that you are working on breaking through, or kind of stepping outside of that comfort zone to overcome?
The one thing that I'm wanting to do is, we'll step out of my comfort zone more, is get more into the actual the media aspect, the videography aspect of presenting myself. So I've done Facebook Lives, I've done some Instagram. I would say personally, a lot of the business I've generated, the more I do is on Facebook. It served me well, but I am transitioning more into an Instagram because I want to be able to share and create more curiosity and awareness behind my brand and my product through Instagram as well. And I want to be able to just be able to do a video on demand anytime. And that's what I'm working on, is I want to do more workout videos. I want to share more ways for people to create more space in their body so they can live healthier, more pain-free lives.
Right.
And that's the next step for me, is just sharing more content on ways for you to eliminate that low back pain or shoulder pain, or how to optimize your diet. Stuff like that. That's my next step, and then just really advertising it and marketing it and just sharing my brand.
Is it still hard for you, Sean? Kind of, do you still really have those strong tendencies of just kind of like, being more kind of inward and just like not really wanting to put yourself out there? Is that still a struggle?
Oh yeah.
Is that kind of still a daily concentrated focus of like, hey, like I've got to do a go live on Facebook, I've got to go live on Instagram, I've got to go up and talk to that person? Is that like a daily, again, kind of like concentrated focus that you got to put yourself out there?
Yeah, some days are better than others, and some days I really have to be cognizant about where my mindset's at and like what I am saying to myself or what's occurring in me right now. But yeah, it's a constant struggle. I mean, it's not dead. It's not it disappear. It's still there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's never going to disappear.
Right. Yeah.
It's just that I have to convince myself that this is going to be better for me, for my business, for the people around me. Because really, at the end of the day, I'm just sharing. I'm sharing. The gift of wellness, the gift of fitness. And I'm really doing it for my audience. It's not really for me, and I have to remind myself that I'm not doing this for my benefit. yes, that's the end result, but it's for my clients, it's for my audience. So I have to really tell myself, it's like, no, you can do this. You're doing this for your audience. You're doing this for your people, your clients, and then it helps me get into that mindset, and I really step into that space where I am empowering. I can really help uplift people through what I'm sharing.
For sure.
But yeah, I deal with that. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Some days are better than others. Yeah.
Right. We're gonna wrap things up here. Just a couple more things, Sean, that I kind of want to touch on. You know, as you've been a personal trainer, you've had so many interactions with so many different people through fitness. What's been kind of one or two things that maybe a client has taught you that has just been super invaluable in your life?
Oh man, funny story. So when I was probably in my 3rd year or 4th year at 24 Hour Fitness, and I was training this woman. She just got done having twins, and I was trying to speak to her in a way that was gonna, leave her empowered, but also wanting to take that step to, improve her diet. And I thought I was speaking to her in a way that was great. I really thought I was. And then one day she came in to me and she said, "Sean, I don't really think you understand how to speak to women." I'm like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" It's like, what did I say that like made you feel that way? She's like, "I don't really think you understand what's happening with my body." And I admit I didn't really understand what was going on with her body. But what she did is that the next day she brought in this book, and the book read How to Understand the Female Brain. And it was the book that literally described the female in every stage of life. And that was one of the most interesting books I've ever read. And it really helps me understand. That was kind of
that's cool, man.
really, that must have been the fire alarm. But it really helped me like be able to understand what's happening with the female body, especially at or after pregnancy. Because a lot of stuff happens after pregnancy, hormone wise. And I wanted to make sure that I was speaking to my clients in a way that was going to leave them like feeling empowered and wanting to adopt that habit. And that was one of the best things the client could ever share with me, because the majority of my clients are females. And because of that, I think that really helped with my business, and also the way how I speak to my female clients.
Yeah, dude, do you still have that book, man? Because I might have to borrow that, because dude, that's so important, especially with fitness, man. And it's like, there's a certain way you interact with kids. There's a certain a way you would interact with another dude. There's certain ways that you interact with females, and then females that have kids. That's super powerful. What I mean? That's super cool that she was seems like pretty gracious about just talking to you about saying, "Hey, Sean, like, you might want to check this book out. You might want to learn something here." So that's really cool.
And I'm so appreciative of it to this day.
For sure. Yeah.
Incredible.
That's cool. All right, so I just want to ask, we got 2 questions here. The first one that I want to ask before I ask the last one, Sean, is there, if somebody's listening to this, they're, they already live in Colorado, or they're going to visit Colorado, something like that, is there maybe a spot or two within the state that are kind of like, if you're going to come here, if you already live here, you haven't checked these places out, that they need to check out?
Oh, yeah. Well, the first one is definitely Red Rocks.
Red Rocks, yep.
And try to catch a show at Red Rocks, because bands from all over the world, like, their goal is to play at this amphitheater, man. Absolutely amazing. Amazing acoustics, amazing sound, amazing vibes. The scenery is absolutely beautiful. And having, as you said earlier in the podcast, I am a drummer, so I do appreciate good music. I'm super into metal music. That's my jam. And a really good drummer who can play this technically and authentically, man, it gets me going, lights me up every single time. So if you can see a show at Red Rocks, and maybe even a metal show, you're gonna get your mind blown. Second place would be somewhere up in the mountains. I'm a huge outdoors guys, man. I love anything in the camping, fishing, rock climbing, shooting, you name it, I do it outside. It's my thing. But I would say if you can go up to the Maroon Bells near, where's that near? Aspen, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like the western side of the state?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Maroon Bells, absolutely gorgeous. You can't go wrong. I mean, you're looking at some of the best mountain scenery in all of the United States. That's why people are moving here on a constant basis, because we got like the most beautiful state in the U.S.
It's unbelievable, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like we came out to Colorado growing up because we had family members out here, but like, and people that have listened to a lot of my episodes have probably heard me say this, but until you actually move here, you don't really fully grasp and appreciate Colorado.
Oh,
especially
yeah.
and yes, the scenery is amazing and all that. There's so much to do outdoors, but the people, man, like the people really make this state even more beautiful if that could even be a thing. You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's unbelievable.
I agree. I think Colorado, the Colorado vibe, I mean, the natives. I mean, I don't consider myself, well, I guess you consider myself a native. I was raised here.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I have never met anyone in Colorado who I was like, man, I would never want to talk to that person
Right,
ever.
right,
You know,
right.
like I have like appreciation for everyone that comes to the state.
yeah,
like it's
sure.
awesome, man. Colorado
Cool.
brings the best out of everyone, dude.
All right, so last question. What lights you up, Sean?
Oof, man. I would say what lights me up is when you see someone that you worked with or you're friends with accomplish their goals. Like when they work so hard for something and they're putting in the effort and they're putting in the time into it and they accomplish that goal, that lights me up. That gets me going because, I mean, you know, being in the fitness industry, your job is to get people to accomplish their goals. And when they do that, like you're doing your job. But like when you're seeing someone that, whether it be even like, I wouldn't even call them an adversary. What am I trying to say here? A rival or someone that like maybe works in the same line of work that you do, but maybe he got a little bit more success.
Right.
I see so much. I love seeing people just accomplish their goals, man.
Absolutely. Cool. So, Sean, that wraps up our podcast conversation. Before I kind of do the outro, I do want to give you an opportunity to share if there's a website, your Instagram, your Facebook, if somebody's interested in becoming a client of yours, if they just kind of want to follow along your journey with your life, where can people reach out to you? Where can people find you?
Absolutely. So if you want to reach out for an assessment, orientation, or you're looking for a trainer, you can reach me via my Instagram handle, which is Sean_fit with a double T, or you can reach me at Sean Cowart on Facebook. Just drop me a direct message. My business is Fit Force, and stay tuned. I got some really big things happening in the next couple months. It's very much a baby right now, but expect good things, guys. I want to make sure that I'm delivering to my audience and my clientele. And other than that, really, it's gonna be. Well, anyways, you guys are gonna see it when it comes out. You'll know, and you'll be excited for it. But yeah, just reach me on any of my social medias, and I'd love to work with you guys.
Perfect. So, Sean, thank you for sharing your story today, man. Thank you for inviting me into your home. A powerful conversation, and it's greatly appreciated. So. Yeah, cool. So, listeners, I just want to thank you for tuning in to the 127 Fit podcast once again. Thank you for hanging out with Sean and myself and just listening to his story and his life insights. If you guys want to find me and follow along kind of what's going on in my life with the podcast and school and all that type of stuff, you can find me on Instagram. That Instagram handle is at 127fitness. The personal Instagram account is at QVars. Facebook is at Quentin Vars. And if you guys would do me a huge favor and please leave a 5-star rating and review and also subscribe to the podcast, that would be cool. If you think you'd be a great guest, or if you have a friend or an acquaintance you think would be a great guest or guest for this specific podcast, you can send me an email or give this email out to the friend or the acquaintance. And the email is 127fit@gmail.com. And as you find value in a specific episode or episodes of the 127 Fit podcast, if you guys would do me another huge favor and share that episode or episodes on your Facebook and Instagram stories and use the hashtag #BeSomeoneToFollow, that would be greatly appreciated. That's how we grow this podcast organically. That's how we get more people to listen. We get more people positively impacted through my guests' stories. So just share the episode or the episodes that, again, you're finding value in on Facebook and Instagram stories. Use that hashtag #BeSomeoneToFollow. Then per the usual, I will leave you with Proverbs 24:10, which states, "If you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. This time, until next time, I will catch you guys later.